And 5, 4, 3, 2, and you're.
So, I'm going to take everyone back in time a little bit with this game. So, before we had Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, before we had Skates, we had games like 720. It came out in the arcade, it just had a button and a crank to control it, and it was awesome. And then somebody made this NES port, and it wasn't so awesome. Time is going to start when I, hit start in 3, 2, 1, go. So 720 is so named because the mythical, super awesome trick you do in this game is jumping in the air and spinning twice. Just to give you an idea of what the standards for skateboarding were when this game came out. So the idea of this game is you go through all these events and you just have to finish them. It doesn't really matter how well you do at them. And progress through each class. There are 4 classes in this game, and a single run is, it starts when you begin the run and then ends when you hit class 4. Because once you complete that, the game just starts looping the final class over and over. Now to progress in this game, you need to have event tickets to do those events. And you get event tickets by hitting certain score thresholds throughout the game. That's why you're going to see me doing a lot of jump spins on the way to events. So the goal of the run is to get 125,000 points. That'll get you enough event tickets to do all of the events in all 4 of the classes. And the points within the events work a little bit differently based on which one you're doing. Slalom, you just go through all the gates. If you miss gates, you get a bonus penalty. It's also partially based on how long it takes you to finish the course. 3,300 is an okay bonus. I'll also apologize if you see a bunch of snow on the screen, because my Nintendo is running off of an RF switch. With the way my console's set up, I can't actually access the audio and video out, so I have to run off of this. Now there's one thing I'm really worried about here. Okay, we got it. So you're not going to notice it for most of the run, but there are characters running around the levels that can knock you off your skateboard. That guy in particular is one of the few that you can actually do something about. I just call him Pepsi Man, because he's made of some sort of liquid. But if you just jump into him, he'll vanish for a bit, and you can keep going on your way. 5,100, like the maximum possible bonus for the jump event is 5,200. That one is based entirely on just how long it takes you to finish the event. It doesn't have anything to do with how well you jump. Downhill, the bonus is partially based on tricks and partially based on score. Inputs can be a little weird in this game sometimes, so I just jump down normally and I'll still have enough points by the time I'm into class 4 to still get all the event tickets. So sometimes you'll jump and try to spin in this game, and instead of spinning once you'll spin twice. Sometimes you won't spin at all. Sometimes you won't jump at all. Collision detection is also an issue with this game. I've run into ramps from 8 feet away, and I've also glided right through them like there was nothing there. I've also ridden over water a few times, which actually saved a couple of runs. But the ramp event I'm doing right now, I start at a very specific time and do a certain pattern of tricks so that I will land on the left side of the ramp right as the timer hits 0. If you get there too early, you will do an entire side-to-side animation of the ramp again, and it loses 5 seconds. But yeah, as long as you're not touching the top of that ramp when the clock hits 0, you can end up cutting a little bit of time off. That part I just did where I was weaving through the ramps is actually one of the more difficult parts to do, because you're relying on the collision detection to work properly, and you're relying on jumps to work properly, because sometimes I just end up eating a jump input and falling into the water. There's also something I'm doing on the way to each event. By the way, the cash prize, just ignore that. That doesn't play a part in this run at all. Cash prize is tied to what medal you get, and the cash is used to buy upgrades to your board, your helmet, your shoes, and it makes you, like, get up from crashes faster. Okay. It helps you move slightly faster, but the shops are so out of the way that even when you're going for the one that makes you move faster, it ultimately loses time over the course of the run. So that animation the kid did where he, like, jumped up and went, yay, on his skateboard, I have no control over that. And I don't know what's happening. I think the game just locked up. Well, okay, this is a slight problem. Can I get an official ruling? Do we have time to restart the run?
Oh, let me check quick.
Not to borrow a overused phrase, but this has never happened before.
All right, I got the ruling from Gooby. We're ahead enough to restart.
Okay, let's reset and try this again. Okay, correction. Let's blow into the cartridge a bit and then try this again.
Okay.
There we go, that's better. Okay, fingers crossed we get a full run in this time.
Through the magic of blowing into the cartridge.
Okay, ready on the timer?
Yep.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Welcome to 720. That last run did not happen. Just ignore that. I thought that my alerts were off, apparently not. So once again, 720 is a very old skateboarding game, where you jump and spin a lot and hope for the best. The sequence of tricks I'm doing, I'm timing it just so that I end up on the left side of the ramp when the timer's about to hit 0. And I think I'm actually a little early. Yep, so this is what happens when you don't time out your tricks properly. You end up losing a few seconds. Just trying to get as many bonus points as I can in these early stages when my tricks count for the least amount of points. On the ramp, you can do like a quick trick to get 100 points. You can hold it a little bit longer to get 200, or you can hold it really long to get 300. But when you go for 300, there's like a 50-50 shot you'll just bail out of the trick. And there's a really long animation where you crash, mope around on the ground, and then stand back up. Slalom bonus is entirely based on like a combination of hitting all the gates and how long it takes you to finish. 3,400 is pretty close to the maximum amount of points you can get on that. I'm also going to jump and spin on the way to each event. to max out the amount of points I can possibly have, because points get you event tickets, which get you into all these events I'm doing. You can see how many event tickets I have right below my money counter. And Waterboy over there is one of the few NPCs we'll see, hopefully, throughout the run. There are supposed to be some that are out in front of the other events I'm doing, but if I move fast enough, they will not spawn at all. Also, if you go through the middle of the map, there are like cars driving around. I think there's someone walking a dog, I can't remember. I haven't gone to the middle of the map in this game in decades. Another important thing to look out for is those little circles on the ground that say map. If you run over one of those, it takes you out of the game and into a map screen. And to exit out of it, you get a ready screen, which takes a couple seconds to load back in. I was just holding down. This game has trouble reading inputs sometimes, to the point where like you'll hit jump and nothing will happen. You'll just jump and it'll think you're trying to spin twice. You'll glide over water and nothing will happen. You'll run into ramps and ledges from 8 feet away. This is not a very good port of 720. If you can play the arcade version, or I'm pretty sure there were re-releases of like arcade classics on the 360 that have the original 720 on them. Those are much better. There are other tricks you can do here. Like, I'm pretty sure you can grind on the top lip of the ramp. I'm just going with the ones that register most consistently. Also, because we've gone up a class, points are going to go up for each trick that you do. So class 1, you would get 100 points per trick, and then 200 if you like did an extra trick or jumped over water or something like that. Here you get 200 points per trick. Something that also is kind of out of your hands when you're trying to get through this is the direction you're facing after you get out of the event. Because sometimes it'll take a really long time to turn around to the direction you want him to go. Sometimes he'll just instantly snap to the direction that you're trying to move. Geez, some of the changes that they made in this port, like the map is much smaller, the graphics are incredibly simplified, which I think you would expect for an NES port. The music is just atrocious. Also, the kid himself is different. In the original version, it's like this mohawked teenage punk. And here it's just this kid with mouthwash-flavored clothes who will not stop smiling, even when he's stung by bees. Okay, he might stop smiling when he's stung by bees. I haven't paid attention. But hopefully that won't happen through the course of the run, because that would mean things have gone catastrophically wrong. When he slides like that, I have no control over that. The only way to avoid doing that is to not do any tricks at all, but at this point I still need the points from those tricks to be able to be on pace to get enough event tickets to get through the whole game. Now you might have noticed it with the slalom course, but when you start going up in classes, the slalom and downhill courses change a little bit. In this case, it added a couple extra turns. Downhill is going to be exactly the same on Class 3 and Class 4, and I think slalom is too. So they eventually just got to a point where they stopped caring. And now that we are at Class 3, all of our tricks are going to count for 300 points. See, right now I don't have an event ticket. Now I have an event ticket. That's how tight some of the point windows can be when you're trying to run this game. Also, on Class 3 and 4, you only have 60 seconds for this event, as opposed to 70 seconds, which you have on Class 1 and 2. Alright, that should be good. Yep. The point bonuses aren't as important when you get to Class 3 and Class 4, except for events like Ramp. Because as the courses get longer, just the point bonuses for them are naturally going to get smaller. And actually, if I were doing pretty well on points, like if I hit 70,000 before going into this event, I would actually like try to miss one of the gates, just to save a little bit of time. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned it, but cash is useless when you're speedrunning this game. Cash is used for buying equipment upgrades, like better skateboard, better helmet. Just pretend he's wearing a helmet. Better shoes, better knee pads, stuff like that. They help you like get up from crashing faster. If you get the board, you can move slightly faster. But the shops are like directly north, south, east, and west on this map, and it takes so long to get to them that even the speed bonus you would get for the upgraded board isn't really worth it over the course of the entire run. And I haven't mentioned this to this point, but jump is terrifying. Because even though like there's a certain point where you're supposed to hit jump and you'll theoretically move forward, sometimes you'll just launch off to the side. I had one where I hit jump and he moved sideways into the water. That blue is water, by the way. Just all the events take place like on the set of Waterworld. By which I mean Waterworld, the quote-unquote ride, attraction, whatever you want to call it. And that is what happens when you don't have enough points. Okay, we're good now. So this is going to look like it's just throwing the same turn at us twice. But in fact, the second one is much longer than the other one. So if you just try playing it exactly the same way, you're going to fall in the water. And that'll bring us to the final class. Like, the game is going to keep looping Class 4, but for the purposes of a run, when you finish Class 4, the run is over. We are behind on points, so I'm going to have to loiter a little bit. Okay, we're good. Ramp is like one of the biggest point getters in the game, just by the nature of the event. Alright, that should be enough to at least get me into slalom. By the way, you can't skip any of the, like, medal, cash bonus, point bonus things. You just have to wait for those to slowly get out of the way. I think that I don't quite have enough points for the jump event yet, but I should have enough by the time I'm like halfway there. Yep, we got it. Oh, I didn't mention, okay, I'm not sure why he bailed there, but we'll keep going. When I do that jump over the water right there, I have to wait so that he's not on the yellow curb area. Also, it is possible to cancel the crash animation if you hit jump at the right time. And if anybody's wondering, this is in fact the game where the phrase skate or die came from. So that is where the name of that game series came from. I have to be careful on this last turn, because if I'm too close, like if I try cutting it too close to the edge, he'll do a tail stop on the top of the ramp and lose all his momentum. I'm not sure why he does it, but he does it. Okay, we don't quite have enough points yet, but if I just land a few tricks... Okay, we're good. Last event of the game. Again, it's going to be the same layout as Class 3 downhill. It is possible to get moving so fast that your skater starts to go off the bottom of the screen. So time is going to be when I skip the last skateboard medal screen, which is right... now, time.
It was 13:46.
That's okay, considering that I got off track with the points. But, do we still have time? Because there's one last thing I can show off.
Let me check quick.
This would hopefully only take about a minute.
Yeah, go ahead. We got time.
Alright, so I'm trying to land a trick on the pixel right before I hit the fence. Timing on it is pretty tight, though. Nevertheless, this run doesn't count unless I land this. You kind of saw like a sneak peek of what can happen before. But let's see if I can get this just right. If you touch the fence at all before you hit the ground, it doesn't count. Oh man, almost got it. Just for reference on the time, by the way, the current record is 13 minutes 18 seconds. And that's if you like are constantly on schedule with points, if you don't bail. Even so, that time can still go down a little bit with just like cutting the route really tight on some of like the downhill course in particular. Okay, this might not happen. It usually isn't this finicky about it, because this isn't a particularly well-made game. Okay, so what could happen is you'll get him stuck on the other side of the fence, and there's just absolutely nothing he can do. So, little sad I couldn't show that off, but if anybody wants to check it out, it's at the end of the current record run on SRC. I wasn't planning on playing this today, but thanks for letting me run through it regardless, even with that little hiccup when the game just stopped working.
Yeah, surprised. You got to play more. Yeah, thanks for running this game on such short notice.
Hopefully I'll be back at the next event with the proper 720.
Yeah, we'll look forward to it.